Hello everyone, this is Sue from Sues'Paper Creations. My name is Sue Phillip and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Canada. Today I wanted to bring you a simple Saturday card. Now I haven't done a simple Saturday video for a while, but I created this really cute and adorable card with a fabulous group of ladies that I met for the first time. And it was super easy and quick, but it was so effective and they just loved it. So I wanted to share this card with you guys. So what I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using the Petal palette stamp set, and this is a beautiful stamp set in our Occasions catalog. I am going to be using a 2-inch circle punch. I've got a little foam brayer that I'm going to be using for a little technique. And the colors I've got is Old Olive, Chocolate Chip, and Tangerine Tango. We're going to do a little bit of adding accessories here with some burlap ribbon, as well as I'm going to bring in some little of our enamel dots as well. Okay. So I'm going to just quickly go over the measurements with you. For this card, I am using a Peekaboo Peach card base, and it's just a standard card, which is 4.25 by 5.5. I've got a layer here, which is 3 3/4 by 5. And then I have got actually 2 pieces of Whisper White that measure the same. So these measure 3.5 by 4 3/4. Okay, so I'm going to put my card aside and I'm going to show you the first step that you want to do in this card is you want to actually mask off just a little, like a little sunset or an area here that's really going to make that bird pop. And we're going to bring in our Tangerine Tango and the brayer in a second to add some color to the circle. But to do the masking, so that's what we're doing first, is we're going to do a little bit of masking. And I'm going to take my 2-inch circle punch, I'm going to put it in the center of this piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to push it down as far as it can go. I'm going to make sure it's equal on both sides, and I'm just going to punch that out. Okay, and that is going to create my mask to make my circle of color. So I just simply lay it right over top. I'm going to bring in my Tangerine Tango and I'm going to bring in my brayer and I'm just going to ink it up. So to ink up a brayer, you want to make sure that you are rolling all the way from one end to the other. You don't want to tap it or else you're going to end up with uneven cover or uneven coverage of color on your brayer. So you want to make sure you roll it just nice and gentle across the ink pad. And then what I like to do is I just like to roll it just a couple times, a little bit on my scrap piece of paper, just so I can see how much ink I've got on the brayer. And I'm not starting off too dark because I like to build up my color gradually. I find that it just gives a nicer image without as many kind of lines and marks in the brayering. So I'm starting off just nice and light, and I'm going over my mask with the brayer. I'm going to go kind of both directions here and get some good coverage. The more I go over this, the darker that color is going to get. So I don't want to go super dark, but I do want to get, you know, a good layer of that color down. So I think that's about perfect. Okay, so now I just have to remove that mask, and there we have got our beautiful circle of color. So I'm going to bring in the stamps that I'm going to use from the stamp set, and I'm going to bring in first some Old Olive, and I'm going to ink up the beautiful leaves in this set. And I'm going to start by placing one of them. Let's bring this in so you guys can see it a little bit easier. Get that out of the way. There we go. So I'm going to bring in one of them. And for placement, I want to have like a little tiny branch for this little birdie to go on. So I'm going to make sure that it's kind of, the branch part is just a little bit lower in that circle. And it goes right across. And I'm just going to press straight down and straight up. So that is going to be my first little stamp. And then I'm just going to add, and you can do whatever pattern you want. I'm going to add a few other leaves in the background just to fill in the white space because I love this beautiful leaf. And I'm even going to put a little bit up here in the corner. I like to kind of work around 3 sides. I like the look of that. I'm going to fill this in a little bit more. And then kind of leave this area just white, okay? So there we have got our leaves down. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my adorable little bird, and I'm going to do him in chocolate chip. So when I place this bird down, I want to make sure that his little feet land on the branch, okay? So because of, when you turn over a stamp, because there's a little bit of an edge before the little feet, I want to just overlap. So I'm going to bring it level with the branch. And I'm going to bring it down just slightly so it overlaps a little bit. And that should make it so that those feet, there we are, land on the little branch. Isn't that so cute? It just pops right off the little circle. I love it. Okay, so there's our little birdie looking so sweet. Now, all we have to do is just do a little saying. I'm going to bring in a piece of crumb cake here. And I'm going to bring in some more chocolate chip. Now, for this card, I did the little saying from the heart. And then I matched it with this little tiny heart just by the birdie. And I thought that was so sweet, just to kind of to play on the words, a play on words. For this one, I'm going to do a little thank you, just because I use a lot of thank yous when I send out thank yous for people who place orders. I always send a little thank you card. So I'm going to do a little thank you for this one. And I'm going to embellish it with something a little bit different, so you can see in a second once we finish it. So there's my little thank you. I'm just going to grab a little pair of scissors here, and I'm just going to cut this and just trim it to put it on my card. There we go. That looks pretty even. We're going to get that out of the way. And we're going to start assembling. Okay, so for this card, I'm going to get a little bit of glue here, and I'm going to start by just gluing my layers together. And it's going to come together super quick. We just have to add this little piece here. I'm going to place it onto the brown like that. So it's going to layer on the chocolate chip. Okay, then I'm going to bring in my Peekaboo Peach layer, and I'm going to bring in some Stampin' Dimensions here. I had them on my little crafting area. There they are. And I'm going to pop out this layer. Because this card doesn't have a whole lot of layers on the front, I want to pop this whole layer off the card just to add that little bit of dimension to it. So I'm going to pop that in the center. And you know what? It really makes a difference. Once you get your stamp piece matted, just having this chocolate chip mat around it really picks up the bird, and then matching the outside there with the circle. So although there's slightly different circles, or slightly different colors, this is the Tangerine Tangle that I brayered with, it looks very similar to the Peekaboo Peach, because when you brayer, you end up with just a lighter version of the color. So you can keep that in mind when you're matching colors together. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my burlap ribbon. And I've just got a piece that I've cut here, left over from my class. And I'm going to pop just a couple of these dimensions on the back of it, and I'm going to place that across my card like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to glue, just adding a little bit of glue here. I'm going to glue my little saying across there like this. There we go. So just put a little liquid glue on there just because I find that that works a little bit better with the burlap ribbon. The burlap ribbon has a bit of a slippery surface to it, so it makes it a little bit harder to use the snail on it. It doesn't quite stick as well. So I just put a little bit of our liquid Tombow glue on top of that, and that'll just take a second to dry. And now it's time to embellish. So if I had done, let's bring in the other one here, and I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit. There we go. So if I had done the from the heart, I would have used a little tiny heart up here. Because I'm just doing a little thank you, I'm going to actually bring in, oh, I don't have many of these left on my sheet. I'm going to bring in our glitter enamel dots, and I'm going to use one of the smaller, oh, where are you? Slipping here. I'm going to use one of the smaller little green ones. Oh, it's on the other side of my finger. But I'm going to use one smaller little green one there, and then I'm going to bring in, I'm just going to kind of balance it off and put one on the bottom there. So that's just, you know, if you're want to add a little extra something to your card, you can do that. And you know what? I like to work in threes, so I'm going to add one more in kind of a slightly lighter tone, I think. That's why I love these glitter enamel dots, because you have all different shades of the colors. I think I'm going to go with one that's slightly whiter, a lighter color. And I'm just going to place it, we'll place it up here, just to kind of balance it off a little bit. So a little sprinkling of glitter amongst your card. And there you have it. It is finished off. Now, if you wanted to just kick it up a little bit more, let's see if I've got them here. I don't have my Wink of Stella. Oh, here it is. You could add a little bit of Wink of Stella to the bird, and that would just bring out a little bit of shimmer. Here, let me just do this. Because you know what? Everybody loves a shimmery bird. This was a big hit. Okay, so I have just gone over with a little bit of Wink of Stella on one of them, and you'll be able to see the difference. So this bird is shimmery, and this one is just plain. So you can do it either way, but it's a quick and easy way to kind of kick up the card and add a little shimmer to it. So there it is. There is my Simple Saturday card. Super cute, really easy. A nice, easy technique of just masking off a little circle. It adds a little feature area for whatever it is you have on your card. And I mean, you could put together a bunch of these really quick. You could brayer them all and then stamp them all. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will try and do some more Simple Saturday videos for you in the coming weeks. Okay, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thanks for stopping by. And I've got a current code here for anyone wanting to place orders. That is the current card host code for February. So if you happen to want to use any of these or purchase any of the items that I have used in the video, you can do that through my online store using the current host code, and I will send you a little gift in the mail. Okay? Thanks for stopping by. Bye.